Hi, I'm Daisy Matias. You know how sometimes you'll start hearing a word or phrase repeatedly in your life that you've never heard before? Well, that started happening to me a few weeks ago. The word was gentrification. I didn't know what it meant, but I started hearing it everywhere. I read it in a textbook, my LGBTQ studies professor started using it, so I looked the word up and I was struck by its meaning. Wikipedia defines gentrification as a process of renovation and revival of deteriorated urban neighborhoods by means of influx of more affluent residents, which results in increased property values and the displacing of lower-income families and small businesses. When I heard this definition, I couldn't help but think about the expansion of VCU raising property taxes and the Monroe Park revitalization. I began to question, is it ethically right to push people out of their homes and small businesses in an attempt to lower the crime rates and make the neighborhood nicer for more affluent residents? I couldn't stop thinking about the low-income people who were being displaced. I couldn't stop thinking about the homeless people who lived in Monroe Park and who now don't even have a park to live in. These people were serious stakeholders. Then there was, of course, the residents who would move into a revitalized is basically a synonym for gentrification, except it holds a positive connotation, neighborhood with low crime rates and ideally no drug problems, and the city officials who would benefit from our city looking good, and even all the people of Richmond who would be affected by this gentrification or revitalization. These people are stakeholders too, of course, and they're no less important as human beings than those who would be displaced. So there's a conflict. We of course want a city that benefits the people of Richmond by being safe and drug-free and clean, but we don't want to throw innocent people out of their homes just because they can't afford to live there. This issue is certainly underexplored in that most people don't think about the cost of their mainly white, middle-class, up-and-coming neighborhoods and where they came from. They just accept them as the nice, cleaned-up part of town. Do I think that we should push people out of their homes in order to lower crime rates and clean up our city? Hell no! I don't believe we should gentrify or revitalize Richmond, because I think the process is just a tool to attempt to push low-income individuals, who are mainly people of color, out of their homes in order to bring in mainly white upper-middle-class white people who can pay higher property taxes. According to the justice and fairness approach to thinking ethically, gentrification is ethically wrong because equals should be treated equally, and essentially forcing people out of their homes to make room for more affluent people is not treating equals equally. Some may claim that this is not happening in Richmond, but it is, as can be seen with the expansion of VCU. This isn't something recent either. As Catherine Schumann stated in her master's thesis, Expansion and Exclusion, the first attempt by the city of Richmond to renew the other Churchill was the Model Neighborhood Program in 1968. So this is actually an issue that has been present in Richmond for almost 60 years, at least. It also seems that the Richmond local government is intentionally pushing people out of their homes, because as Victoria Zawitowski said in her Commonwealth Times article, VCU is upgrading the area and pushing out the poor. Richmond actually gives tax credits to people who flip houses in low-income areas, because they're increasing the property values, and thus the taxes that Richmond can charge the people living in those homes. I really feel that in this paper I'm going to have to strongly focus on giving the other side of the ethical argument a chance so that I can counter it. Where I'm at now, I feel that I'm not doing enough research on the other side, and that the research that I am doing, I'm brushing off too quickly. Regardless of the other side's views, though, I know that gentrification is ethically wrong.